Okay, guys, part 2 of Brad Garlinghouse's Digital Asset 2025 Summit was sent to me. He will discuss HSBC, BBVA, and other banks in line as well as their custody solutions. Brad also discusses the 5-year strategy for stable currencies, its potential impact, and what Ripple will bring to the stable currency industry going forward. He also discusses the US and the world. The method for cross-border payments is still flawed. There is a lot more in this interview, guys, and it's still expensive. Stay with me for the whole of this. You will gain a lot of knowledge. Please watch part 1 if you haven't already. They are both really amazing. Come on, let's get started. Guys, I'm a crypto sensei. You can like the video if you find any value in it. You may help me and the channel in this way. Additionally, you may join the channel, which is incredibly beneficial. And if you're considering paying, our goal is to reach 100,000 subscribers. I wish you could join us on the road and be a part of that. Many thanks. Come on, let's get started. Let's discuss it. In this chapter, we discuss construction and all of the options. Ripple has been involved in a wide range of projects: custody, tokenization, payments, stablecoin, and of course adding to the XRP ledger are all involved. In all those dimensions, what excites you the most about today? Oh, what a wonderful question. That's a challenging one. Let's take a look at what has gone quickly in the stablecoin industry. I believe that in a very positive way, the stablecoin ecosystem changed and advanced faster than I could have predicted 5 years ago. Bravo to Jeremy and the Circle team, and to Paolo and the Tether team. The infrastructure for stablecoin payments will, in my opinion, surpass expectations. The stablecoin industry is expected to increase during the next 5 years, according to certain astute predictions. I think that Ripple is real. In the next 5 years, it seems likely that the stablecoin market will expand by more than 10 times. I'll let Brad complete his response, but I'm trying to think of some new information for you. I'll do my best to leave it there. This can occasionally be stopped by ADHD, but let me try my best. Introduced. As a principle, we only recently entered this game, and as you can see, we've already surpassed our Q1 prediction or are somewhat ahead of schedule. More participants are listing what are known as Ripple, USD. Yes, look, that makes us very happy, pleased with that momentum. However, I'm not sure whether I have a favorite child here. We've had great success with the custody business, due in part to the European headquarters of the company we purchased. We are especially strong in Europe. Our custody solution is used by several well-known companies like HSBC and BBVA, especially in Europe, but it is still growing. As you have also experienced, the US market has been somewhat frozen in terms of financial institutions stepping in, so that's the final thing I'll say on this front about the build and unlocking of the US market. And in the past few weeks, you've begun to notice that consumers are interacting and that the ice is melting. Right now, I'm focusing more on the payment side, but notice that things may have proceeded more slowly than I had anticipated. The payments industry is still ready for development and transformation, and I have a lot of hope for how that will turn out. The market is worth several trillions of dollars. The fact that it's still broken amazes me. I mentioned my own personal experience before, but there are a ton of examples you could cite. You're asking why we continue to do things this way. However, we haven't advanced all that far. Thus, in my opinion, that is one of the numerous tailwinds that will keep the cryptocurrency industry as a whole afloat this year and beyond. All okay, really fast. Here he mentioned a few things. He began by outlining a 5-year plan that would increase stablecoins by 10x. It is moving in a bullish direction, more positive momentum than Brad had anticipated. Now, allow me to rapidly instill some ideas in your mind. Beside President Trump at the White House's digital asset meeting was Scott Bessent, the acting treasurer, or the U.S. treasurer. Additionally, he stated that stablecoins will be crucial to the development of the Treasury market, and I discussed this with you all. The Treasury market, which only consists of U.S. Treasury bills, is worth $28.6 trillion, which is why this is so significant. This is limited to the U.S. Treasury bond market and does not include corporate bonds, bonds issued in other nations, or bonds issued globally. Therefore, as value shifts from the real world, firms like Open Eden and alliances like BlackRock and Ondo to provide income for institutional players will be particularly important for tokenized treasuries, right? That value will then exist on the XRP ledger in the bond market to the blockchain world. 2 pieces here if you can, if you're locking up, let's say, RLUSD, correct? Because you're securing a time frame which is often around a year. They have shorter, although I believe I noticed it was 4.16%, or about 12 months, and that changes based on the amount of funding allocated to various programs. What people should truly think about here, though, is what would happen if the whole Treasury market were placed on the blockchain. For example, when do you simply transfer everything on blockchain? When does the infrastructure or Treasury markets become threatened by quantum computing? Derivatives, stocks, and bonds. We are aware that blockchain will be used for this. We hear from BlackRock's leader, Larry Fink. We hear from the heads of BNY Mellon and Bank of America. And they all tell us that blockchain technology is the way of the future for these markets. As a result, you agree that Ripple has some of the greatest technologies available when Brad discusses custody solutions, HSBC, and BBVA tokenized assets. Additionally, it goes without saying that they have some of the best stablecoin technologies. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, if one of these banks decides to develop their own stablecoin while collaborating with some of these partners, such as HSBC, BBVA, or Bank of America, it would be fantastic for us because they would most likely select Ripple and the XRP ledger to launch that stablecoin on. It may be on the XRP ledger or Ethereum, but it can also go cross-chain, right? These kinds of systems can support cross-chain when you look at Axelar and Arc, as well as smart contracts and anything else. Because the US is prioritizing stable currencies, I anticipate trillions of dollars in growth over the next 5 years, more than 10 times. And prior to that summit, Brad Garlinghouse was on this stage. The dates are probably fairly close. He was here first, but I believe it was actually the same day. As a result, the United States presently owns stable coinage, and this massive scheme will be essential to it all. And they're not interested in touching a CBDC, are they? They are therefore left to deal with the most regulated corporations. The United States could deal with a number of these companies, but Ripple is also there. I mean, they might be there. Additionally, when discussing HSBC, BBVA, and other custodial partners, the possibilities are endless when it comes to tokenizing those assets or holding cryptocurrency. Indeed it is. Okay, let's resume our work. Brad mentioned that when it comes to foreign payments, the US market is still somewhat stuck. It's going much more slowly than he thought. The problem is still worth several trillions of dollars. You remember how I calculated the market for you? It is almost $7.5 trillion a day in the FX market. On average, each payment amounts to approximately $1 million. Approximately 7.5 million payments are made every day. You're talking about between $50 and $200 billion in fees per day if you add 1 to 4% interest to those payments. Therefore, switching to something like XRP would save you, $90, $95, and possibly more than that, $150 billion. Imagine then saving $100 billion every day for a full year. That is a potential savings of $36.5 trillion. And keep in mind that you and I are sending this money, correct? We are making this payment. Therefore, a new system that can save us money is something we deserve. As a subset of that, I have a question for you regarding XRPL. The EVM sidechain is something that interests me, even though I am aware that you are not the chief product officer. In your opinion, what potential outcomes might result from its deployment? I'll back up and respond to it. Many overlook the fact that the XRP ledger was actually it included an embedded decentralized exchange at launch. It had a tokenization engine at launch. It wasn't referred to as a tokenization engine. An issue asset framework is what we dubbed it. In a flash, they are discussing the EVM sidechain, which will have smart contract functionality. The news for today is this. I'll get back to Brad after you have a look at this.